Transit! How are you guys? It's so great to see you. For those of you guys that I haven't had the chance to meet yet, my name is Ashlyn, and I am super pumped to be here. I'm super excited that you're here. And if it's your very first time, welcome to Transit. Hope you've had a great time. Hopefully you didn't just get pied in the face with the whipped cream, but you can always come back more for that. But today, guys, we are finishing off our series called Better, otherwise known as the Pizza Series. And this series has been all about how we have the power to make better choices that will in turn lead us to a better life. And we've been using this example of pizza because the better ingredients that we choose to put on our pizza, the better the pizza is going to taste, right? How many of y'all like pizza in here? Yeah, some pizza lovers. But speaking of better ingredients, I have a friend of mine. Her name's Evie Campbell. She is some of your small group leader. She, shout out to Evie, is not good at choosing good or better ingredients for her pizza. Honestly, she probably has the most disgusting pizza order that I've ever heard of, and I'm about to tell you about it. Because a few weeks ago, we went to Mod Pizza. Any Mod Pizza fans in here? You make your own pizza. It's made fresh. It's amazing. And I had the most shocking experience because of Evie's pizza order, and two, probably the most traumatic experience because Mod Pizza literally created a disaster this night, so I'm gonna tell you about it. So we go into Mod Pizza, and we're waiting in the line. It's taking a little bit because, you go up and you make your own pizza with the fresh toppings. So we get up there, and I'm a pretty simple gal when it comes to my pizza. I'm like, I'll have some red sauce, maybe some mozzarella cheese, some pepperoni, maybe a little bit of garlic, and I'm done. Easy enough. You can't go wrong with it. But then Evie walks up in line, and I kid you not, her face immediately turns red because she knows what she's about to order, and she's so embarrassed by it. So she gets up there, and she starts off and says white sauce. Did we have any white sauce fans in here? 5 of you. Great. She gets up there and says she wants white sauce, then puts some mozzarella on it, then some feta, which was shocking. I don't know how well mozzarella and feta mix, but she puts feta on it. She keeps going down the line and then gets some ham, which, okay, a little bit. Some pineapple. That's a hot topic. Does pineapple go on pizza or not? I don't know. But then, guess what else she puts on it? A literal mountain of black olives. Who puts pineapple and black olives on the same pizza? It's disgusting, nasty. But, she loves it, so it's okay. But we go sit down because, they have to bake your pizza fresh. And we're waiting, probably takes 10, 15 minutes for them to bake this pizza. And I hear my name called. So I walk up to the front, get my pizza. It's nice, hot, fresh, ready to go. And I sit back down, kind of waiting for Evie's pizza, to not be far behind because they made them at the same time. And I don't see it, but I'm not losing hope yet. Then I see this massive group of people walk into Mod, and they all surround the counter. And there's a lot of hustle and bustle, and then they all leave, all with pizzas in their hand. And I think, this is interesting. Evie still doesn't have her pizza. They just left with pizzas. I wonder where it's at. So I walk up to the counter, and I'm like, hey, have you seen the pizza with pineapple and olives? Weird combo, but pineapple and olives. And the girl making the pizzas looks at me with this look of terror. And she realizes in that moment she has given Evie's pizza away to this other lady who had walked in and demanded that was her pizza. Why she wanted that pizza of all the pizzas, I don't know. But Evie's pizza is gone, out the door, nowhere to be found, so they have to make another one. But at this point, we've been waiting for a while, and we're hungry. My pizza is now kind of getting cold. Evie doesn't even have hers. So they make another one, and we get it finally after another 15 minutes, and we head back to my house because we're planning on watching a movie and eating pizza that night. And we sit down, Evie opens up her pizza, and it's completely wrong. They put red sauce on it, not white sauce, and we're missing some toppings. And can you imagine, in that moment, you've been waiting for almost an hour at this point to eat your pizza, and not only did they give it away, but then they made you a new one, and they made it wrong. What do you feel in that moment? Are you happy? Thumbs up. Are you mad? Thumbs down. Yeah. We like to call this being hangry, because you're hungry and angry at the same time. Now, everyone reacts differently in these situations. Some of you would be a little too scared to go up to the counter and talk to them, so you're probably holding it in, letting the anger build up inside of you. But then others of you lash out on maybe your parents or your siblings or your friends there because you're like, well, I don't want to go talk to them, but I can at least take it out on you because I don't have my pizza right now. We react in different ways when we're angry, yes, but we all react. Now, I want to take it a step further. Yes, you could have been hangry because you're not getting your food, but what happens when you're actually legitimately really angry, legitimately really mad? Maybe a friend has done something that hurts you. Maybe your parents told you that you weren't allowed to go to so-and-so's house and you're upset at them. Maybe you don't make the sports team. Maybe your audition goes really poorly. We all have these moments where we're expecting something to happen, but what actually happens isn't what we expected. So there's this gap here between what we wanted, what we expected, and what actually happened. And in that gap, we often fill it with frustration and anger. Sometimes it's even anxiety. And in those moments, we often act or say things in ways that we shouldn't. And so if you were asked, well, why did you react that way? You might honestly think to yourself, well, I don't know, because to be honest, I don't think I can control my reactions. I can't control my reactions. It's not my fault that what I expected didn't happen, so obviously I'm going to fill it with anger and frustration there, like that's normal. So we tell ourselves this, and we get a little bit stuck, because here's the thing, there may be these moments where we are reacting in this anger, in this frustration, and it kind of eats us alive from the inside out, and then in turn, it hurts the people around us. But we tell ourselves it's not our fault because what we wanted to happen didn't happen. You know what I'm talking about. When you've gotten in a fight with your friend and you lash out on them and you walk away, you honestly kind of hate where your friendship lies at that point because you're not on speaking terms anymore, you're not getting along, but you think it's their fault, they think it's your fault, so there's no resolve. Or maybe this happens with your parents too, maybe this happens with your siblings, and so you're stuck. What do I do with it? And so today, I want us to look at a book of the Bible. It's called Proverbs, and this is written by King Solomon. Now, King Solomon actually asked God to give him wisdom, and God granted it to him. And he writes this book called Proverbs, which is full of little tidbits and principles of wisdom that he is writing so that we can learn from it. And I think the cool thing about Proverbs is that it honestly calls into question a lot of the way that we would naturally live life. Whenever there's a situation that makes you angry, it would make sense that you would react in a certain way, right? Well, what Solomon is saying is, I think I actually have a better way for you to live life, and it's out of him wanting you to live the best life that you can. And so I think we should take a look at what he says. In Proverbs 29:11, he starts to write, he says, fools give full vent to their rage. Fools, aka people who don't think before they act, give full vent to their rage. Now, when I saw this, the very first thing that came to my mind was this clip from the Avengers. Check this out.
Enough! You are all of you beneath me. I am a god, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by that.
Talk about someone giving full vent to their rage, am I right? I mean, Hulk didn't think twice before he just slung and slammed Loki into the ground. And I guarantee you, Loki probably didn't see that coming. But Hulk is a prime example of this. We know him as someone who is always going to fully release every last ounce of anger that he has in his body. And what Solomon is saying is that people who are foolish do that. People who are foolish give full vent, aka they fully release every bit of anger without even thinking of who they might hurt or what they might obliterate in their path, just like Hulk did. And it's natural for us to feel this way because anger is a pretty natural emotion. When something goes wrong, we're going to feel a bit angry. But Solomon continues on because he's like, okay, it's not bad to feel angry. It is bad to give full vent to your rage, like Hulk, but here's the second thing that you can do. He continues on and he says, fools give full vent to their rage, but the wise bring calm in the end. The wise bring calm in the end. Now, this isn't saying immediately, in the moment where something has gone wrong with your friend or wrong with your family or wrong at school, and you may be feeling angry, it's not saying you're immediately calm, because it's not bad to feel that anger. But what Solomon is saying is that in time, there's a possibility that you can actually think about what's going on, you can actually process it with someone around you, and then in turn, instead of reacting, you can choose to act in a different way that might actually result in peace and in calmness. And so he wants you to know this because, guys, it's natural for us to react in abrupt ways. It really is. And I'd venture to say that every single person in this room, myself included, has acted in a moment and we regret it later because we know we shouldn't have lashed out. We know we shouldn't have said that thing. Or maybe we just let it boil up inside of us and then it eats us alive from the inside out. And we want a better way because we don't want to live with that hurt and with that guilt and with that shame. And Solomon is saying, hey, give it some time. Give it some time. Fools are going to think that they just have to react in the moment, but wise people are going to realize, I can actually take a second and think about it. Fools think that their attitude is the only thing that controls them, and if you're in a bad attitude, then it just is what it is. But wise people realize that your attitude doesn't actually control you. No, you control your attitude. Each and every one of you in this room have the power that in the moment, even if someone has done something legitimately wrong to make you angry, each and every one of you have the power to choose to respond in a better, in a healthier way. Now, this may sound all fine and dandy, and you may be like, Ashlyn, how do I even do that? So I want to give you 3 simple steps, and these are worth making note of. These are worth writing down because I truly believe they will help you, and they will help you live the life, the best life that God has for you. So the first step is 1, just to breathe. You know, in the moment where you're starting to get frustrated and angry, like your heart is just racing. But when you actually choose to take a deep breath a few different times, your heart rate goes down. You start to think more clearly. You have a better perspective that's not as reactive, but you can actually make a legitimate decision on what you want to do next. So just breathe. And the second thing I want you to do is to pause and think. Pause and think. After you've calmed your heart rate down, after you've cleared your mind, actually think about what's going on. Think about the situation that you're in. Is it worth all of the time and energy and emotion that you're putting into it? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But think about what your best next step could be. One that isn't going to hurt the other people around you and hurt you too. And then finally, I want you to name what you feel. I want you to name what you feel in that moment. And it may sound silly and weird, but there is something so powerful in taking something that is inside you and naming it out loud, whether that is just saying it to yourself, or maybe it's writing it down in a journal or on a piece of paper, or maybe it's going to a trusted friend or a trusted adult like your small group leader. And when you actually name it, it loses its power over you. None of us like being held captive by some feeling that's just going to eat us alive. We don't want it to have that power over us, so just name what you're feeling. And then oftentimes when you get to actually process this with other people, you choose to respond in a much better way that's going to be better for you and the people around you, as opposed to just reacting kind of like Hulk did in this situation. And so this is what I want you guys to think about, especially as you're going into Thanksgiving break. You're about to spend a lot of time with family, with siblings, with parents, with aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, who knows? And oftentimes when you're with family, there's a lot of tension that builds. So in those moments, think about these things. So I want to pray for us, and I'll close us out, and then hang tight because I have one more announcement to make. God, thank you so much for this day. I thank you so much for these students. And I thank you that they chose to come to Transit this morning to hang out with their small group and get to know them better and ultimately get to know you better as well. And I thank you so much that you've given us these pieces of wisdom, because I truly believe that your heart for us is that we would get to live the best life that we possibly could. So I ask that you'd help these students to take these 3 steps into account, and that they would have an amazing Thanksgiving break, and that finishing out this school year would be awesome. I thank you so much for who you are in our lives. I thank you so much that you love us. And in your name I pray, amen.